guys. Say hi, Mom.
Hello.
So we are back with Inside Addiction Part 2. It's been about a year since the first one. We've come a long way. Production has come a long way. Today we are going to be interviewed by Cory Espie. Espie? I'm just kidding. He has helped me so much on this project, just making it bigger. We saw the impact that the first one made, and so we wanted to bring you guys. It just inspired me to continue with the docuseries and make it bigger and better. So my homeboy Cory has got me together and is going to be hosting our interview today. And, you know, if you haven't seen the first one, you can. Just take a look to see what has changed in the past year. And, yeah, we're not going to talk too much. We're just going to jump right in.
All right.
Right, straight through it. First of all, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
That's great. So it's been a year since the last video came out. What has the relationship been since then with all the things y'all talked about from the last video? Take us to today right now. Where does the relationship stand?
Well, I still don't see her as often as I would like. You know, but, you know, she has this thing called unconditional love that I'm learning. You know, she makes me want to be a better person, but when I leave here, I get my drink out.
This is real life. I think in the past year, I don't know, it's so hard, you guys, because you have to go into bringing someone into your life who has an addiction with, like, this open-mindedness. And you're going to set yourself up for your own expectations for that person. You know what I mean? So, like, I had my own idea of what, like, I wanted my mom to be like now that she's in my life. And, like, I would get frustrated with her and not talk to her. And it's like that defeats the purpose. You know what I mean? And so over the year, I've grown accepting just in myself to taking my own expectations for her and letting her live her life as long as, like, I'm a part of it, in it, so to speak. So we've, like she said, I'm on this unconditional love thing.
Yeah, you just gotta lower your expectations.
Yeah, and it's not even lower my expectations. It's not have expectations for your life. And I think so many times, even today, we have an expectation for what someone else should be doing with their life. And I allowed that to, like, make me upset, because you can't control nobody but yourself. You either accept people and they're your friends and they're your family and they're in your life, or, like, that's it. Don't have them around, because you're constantly, like, you can't make someone live the life that you want them to lead. That makes no sense, you know?
Yeah, because you'll be mad all the time.
All the time. And then it's pointless. It's useless. So now, like, she's a lot more open, a lot more honest, which was what I didn't like. That's what bothered me. And I think you had, like, this shame, like, oh, I don't want to tell her it's my daughter type of deal, you know?
Why is that? Why do you want to buy it?
It's because, you know, besides her being my daughter, she's better than me. You know, I can't take credit for her being a good person that she is. So I want to live up to that. She's never seen the side of me. My other kid's seen the drunk, that and the cussing out, and she's never seen it. So I tried to hold that in. I didn't want her to know. You know?
When you say a part of that did come from you, though, it's a good side, because if DNA plays a lot into, or genetics plays a lot into who people become, because there's stories where kids that were not raised around their parents and carried a lot of their traits. So if there is a good side of her that you seem to think is better, wouldn't you give credit to that too as well?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to learn to accept. Because I can accept my boys being bad or jail or, you know, I can accept that. But this, I don't know where to start at.
Right.
I mean, like this, like, you know, who she is. You know, we can accept the bad, but the good is I don't know why.
So from this standpoint, answer this. When a mother goes through addiction like that, and you seemingly lose so much time with a child and they become wrong, how do you reestablish the relationship from the parent side of guidance, or is it just a thing of just trying to be there?
It's more, there's nothing I can do. I just want to be in their lives, you know? And that's all I got. I can't make up for no other time. If you want me in your life now, I'm willing to be here, but I'm still the same. I'm just not as bad.
Gotcha. Raquel, we talk about forgiveness. And some people blame their parents for so many things, especially if life goes wrong. What is that thing inside of you that said, I just want my mother here?
Woo, thank the Lord for forgiveness. I think for me, I stopped blaming my circumstance. And with that came stop blaming my mother. Like, when you learn to use your story for your purpose and realize what you've been through is a part of your purpose, then you no longer have like that animosity. So for me, it was like, my mom doesn't think like that she gives me guidance or anything. And I think it's just, I don't know, being a part, like I was in her stomach. So at the end of the day, there are times where I just want to be around my mom. Like, I don't want nothing but to be around her. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I hadn't grown up the way I did, I don't think I would be who I am, truly, whether my mom was there or not, you know? I definitely know, like, what not to do. And then I can talk to her about experiences I did go through, like, in my childhood. I can talk to her about stuff that I'm going through now, because she's probably already been through it, if not worse. So there still is a lot that I learned from her, you know what I mean? And I don't think I could ever forgive myself if I just walked around with a chip on my shoulder like, I can't do this, or I grew up like this because of my mom, yada, yada, yada. I did that for so long, and it was just so heavy. And I got tired of, I think it's an excuse. People constantly blame their past on why they're not doing something, why they're not succeeding, why they didn't have this opportunity, why they don't have that, da, 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 da. And then once you get out of your own way and realize you can't blame anybody but yourself, like, since then I've been on this upward elevation just in self, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just having my mom see that is still a big part. Like, I want her to know that despite everything, like, she's still my mother. I still respect her. I still love her. I still want her. I still look to her for guidance. Like, there's nothing that makes me better than my mom. She doesn't know that, but I don't think I'm better than anyone, and I don't think anyone's better than me, you know?
Right. So at this point, hearing all that, Mother, have you truly forgiven yourself and move on? Or does guilt play a lot of
A lot of guilt.
A lot of guilt.
A lot of guilt. Because, you know, I wish I, you know, knew her as growing up. I mean, like, every scar, everything she's been through, you know. School, teaching her math, you know, if I taught her, she probably flunked, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, just, I don't have no memories. And so that plays a lot of part. And it hurts because, you know, it's something I did. And they didn't ask for it, you know, but it's something I did, so I carry a lot of weight. You know?
What is the one thing that you would, if you say, I could change this, what would that one thing be?
Having all my kids together, because, see, they didn't grow up together, so they don't have that family bond. When they're mad at each other, they don't talk to each other. They don't like them, they don't like them. But us, growing up as a family, they would have been a lot stronger, and you know, when they do fight, they'll call the next day, you know, but I don't even have a picture of them around me. That's my dream, is to have a picture of all four of my kids, you know, but that's what I regret. We don't have that family bond, and being the mom, you know, I don't get the respect like mom does, because like your mom or Mother's Day, you know, and stuff like that, where you're like, you know, but
how do you feel about that?
It hurts, because I know I did it to myself, but it hurts.
So do you, when those moments happen, how do you deal with the process of that, especially since y'all spend so much time together now? How do you deal with that process?
Well, I think about it, and I weigh out the good and the bad, and I think so much, I overthink, and then, you know, here comes my beer, you know, here comes my alcohol.
Raquel,
so that's how I deal with things still the same way, but just...
To this day?
Yes.
To this day. Is that something that you want to totally stop, or now that you're at a point to saying this is how I cope with life?
Well, I like it. I like drinking. I'm just gonna put it out there. I can make up nothing else.
But you're owning your truth, so
I'm not as bad. I'm still at it, but I'm just not as bad at it. If that makes any sense.
They say functioning.
Yeah, functioning.
And it hasn't made you, fall apart, and you still. So, Raquel, I heard you talk about times being younger when you would have to be homeless and try to get around stuff. How did you keep from falling under with that situation?
Honestly, the arts, and I know that sounds like a cliche, but I would hear stories about my mom, and like, I want to say I had my wild days because I went through that rebellious teen stage probably a lot harder than most teens because I didn't have a mom trying to reel me back in. But I just think about, like, I've always told myself that I had to be smart, I had to be talented, I had to, so that way I didn't end up, like, in and out of jail or doing drugs or drinking or anything like that. I kind of used it just as a motivation, and then even just to get away from, like, my surroundings when I was younger.
Right.
But I think that's why I truly think that who I am now was always meant, because I always wanted to make a difference or use my story to just be like, listen, you don't have to go through this, or you don't have to end up like this, despite how everything started. But definitely, like, if it wasn't for dance and sports and having things to do, I don't think that I would have ended up, like, as successful as I am.
You don't have children, right?
No.
Did that decision become because of career choices, or? You don't have kids, right?
No.
So was that a career choice, or the fact of what you went through as
I think a large part of what I went through, because I didn't want, like, to just have babies and not be able to take care of them. I have this, like, strong need to be able to give my child everything, like, I didn't have. And I just knew, like, if I wasn't in the career or anything that I wanted to be, or, like, make it as far, then they would just end up, like, boards of the state or, like, one of my brothers. So I don't know if I have a fear of something like that happening, or, if I just know I'm not there yet to provide the lifestyle that I want, because I refuse to, like, have any kid go through, you know what I mean? Like,
so has this affected as far as trust with people not having a direct relationship early? Has it now before, kind of reconciling things with your mother, really trust people that come into your life?
I, like, have this whole mantra around trust, is that I've seen the ugliest sides of people, and I think that is the truest sides. So for me, I trust people to be humans, like human nature. People's idea of trust comes with trusting that people have their best interest at heart, or people are genuinely going to do the right thing, or, you know what I mean, or people are naturally going to look out for you. And that's actually not real life. Like, on a logical side, it has made me, like, I only think logically and not really with emotions, which has kind of hindered some things in my life, but it makes me see people for who they are. So I'm always going to be who I am. Like, I'm naturally a nice person, I'm naturally nurturing, I'm naturally caring, but I'm also logical. Like, I have realistic expectations for everyone. Everyone is going to do what's in their best interest, and I trust that. I trust in logic. So all in all, I don't function emotionally, and just only logically, which has its pros and cons, for sure.
Mom, take us through the moments of the addiction where it got so bad that you felt like you couldn't face your kids at this point. Where was that moment at when you looked in the mirror and saw that
Oh, wow. I knew when I lost my first child. I knew when I was giving my children away, thinking I was doing better because I didn't want them to end up like me. And I knew there's times where I did drink and they're up. So I knew then that, and they weren't worth me stopping. And that's when I knew. I'd rather give my children away than put down a bottle. Yes, that's the day I knew. Yeah. That I couldn't, they were not worth me quitting.
Wow. What does it do to you to hear that right there?
For me, it just is like, I want her to be free of that burden, and I always wonder what it would be like growing up with my mom. I do. Because we're both goofy. We both, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole side to my mom that I didn't see when she was younger and in the years that she was sober. So, I mean, it's not that it hurts. It's real life. But at the same time, like, I wish talking about it made her feel free from having to carry that around, because I don't think I would be as strong and as gung-ho and focused and, as I am today if I had her. I'd probably be some spoiled little brat. So for me, it's like, I get it, but at the same time, like, let it go. We're here now,
As a lot of people can't seem to cope with that, A lot of people hold on to that. Did you ever try drugs?
I never did. Like, I did the regular, like, things that, like, high school kids do. I drank at a young age. I think I drank at my first, my senior prom. And I hated it. I didn't drink again for a long time. It was truly terrible. I tried, weed, of course. I don't like the feeling of being high. I don't know. It's just not for me. And then for a long time, I actually didn't drink until after I was 21. And then I would just go a year or two with no drinking, and it's just like a recreational. And not that I don't drink because of my mom. It's just, I don't know, I'm always so busy.
Mom, at the point where you're at now, you got the relationship back. You say, you're living your truth. Is there a moment that you could find yourself back in that, recidivism of the addiction really strong, where you probably disappear, go in line and not be in contact, or do you feel like you've conquered that part for the most?
Well, sometimes I think I did, but then there's days that you just have that you reflect, because she is in my life and stuff, and I'm starting to get addicted to her to the point where, when she's not around or something, I still get angry. Like, okay, you say you want me in your life, but you say you come and you don't see me for another 9 months or 6 months or something, and so yes, I go back in. Because I keep putting myself out there, and then I understand how they feel now. So yes, I'll get on a bender, and I'll drink and smoke and do whatever I do for about 3 to 4 days. Stay in the same clothes and stuff, and it's better than thinking about it. But then I blame myself is what I get. So it's just a circle.
You've been to rehab?
About 7 times.
7 times. How's that work for you?
Well, one time, it worked for me for 7 years, and then I went to jail and.
You completed?
Mm-hmm. Got out, and I just couldn't handle my mentality of being in jail. I couldn't handle when I got out.
What is the scariest thing right now that you think about in your sobriety?
It is, how long can I keep it up?
Is that one of the reasons you don't really abandon her now? Is you want her to stay clean?
Yeah. And it's like I wanna. It's not even that I care about her staying clean as like I don't want that to sound. I don't know. I don't want that to sound wrong. It's just that I want her to not feel like she has to go so deep inside of addiction to not have me around. You know what I mean? So I want her to feel like she can still get drunk or drink and call me and be like, girl, I'm drunk, what you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want her to hide from me, so I just give her a space to do what she does in a judgment-free zone. Like, I'm not any better than her, or I can't control her or anything. As long as I know where she's at, what she's doing, like, I'm comfortable, because not knowing is my biggest fear. And again, I was not around because I would get upset of like, when she first moved here, she wasn't being stable, and you know what I mean? And I would get so mad that I would hold my expectations against her instead of just allowing her to live her life and be here, you know? And so, yeah, now I'm just like, now that I've, like I said, relinquished those expectations and give her a judgment-free zone, like, I'm around more. But it was like more my fault, I think, when I wasn't around.
Take our listeners here, because you hear mom talk about they wasn't worth giving up the addiction. So many people, and I can even say myself, have a hard time forgiving parents and letting go of the anger and the disappointment. How did Raquel get to that point? Because you sound so sure about, I just wanted my mom in my life. How do you walk past all of that to get to a point to say, I just want her to be here? Like, where does that forgiveness come from?
I think more people would say that people with addiction don't deserve their children, but that doesn't mean that I don't deserve a mother. I also think that I don't know. I think that when you speak on, and this is research too, of not being emotional and just thinking logically, I wanted to understand addiction. So I've read so much, I've researched so much, everything. And if every doctor is saying, except a few of course, is saying that addiction is a disease, it's the only disease not treated like one. You know, like addiction is seen as this, it's labeled as a disease, but then addicts are treated like addicts. Like, you have that stigma. And for me, like, if you put both of our brains under a scan, like, her brain would literally function different than mine. Like, I don't take it personal. You know what I mean? Her brain literally is different than if I had a child, because I'm not addicted to anything. I'm not an addict. So there's that difference where I don't hold it against her anymore. So, and like I said, I deserve my mom. It doesn't matter if she feels like she doesn't deserve
when other people get it wrong. It's like, after I did the things that I've done, like they say, what you do in addiction that keeps you in addiction. I think about that in kids, and I see other people with their kids, or your birthdays, or I don't remember your birthdays, or how old you are, and stuff like that, which normal parents do, or, so yes, I drink, it still hurts. Because all the things I've done, that's what keeps a person in their addiction, is the things that I've done that I can't let go. And not necessarily seeing her, but seeing other people with their kids, and knowing that I was the worst thing out there.